Host their annual Poetry in McGregor Festival from the 24th to the 26th of August. The event, that is in its 6th year now, has cemented itself as one of the most successful poetry festivals on the continent and will see more than 160 poets in and around the city showcase their spoken word talent. And joining us now from our Sea Point studio in Cape Town to tell us more about the festival is Graham Dukas, and he will be among an array of other poets showcasing at the festival. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us, Graham, and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, thank you.
First of all, tell us what this festival is all about.
Well, it's really just a festival that celebrates poetry and celebrates the written word. It started in 2013. It was the brainchild of Billy Kennedy, who's a resident of McGregor, and with a team of enthusiastic lovers of poetry, they started the festival, and it has grown from year to year, each year becoming more and more successful. And as you mentioned in your introduction, this year I think there are going to be over 160 poets.
Now, this year's theme is called The Sound of Water. Tell us more about this theme and how you will be interpreting it at that festival.
Well, I think everybody knows that water has become a very critical element, not just in the Western Cape, but obviously around the country and probably also around the world. So water is at the forefront of much of our thinking these days, and it seemed like a really great idea to develop as a theme for the various poets that are going to be sharing their work at the festival. My own approach has been quite different in that I found it quite difficult to write about water per se, but I have written a few poems, and so amongst other things I will be reading a few poems that have a water theme.
Okay, now the festival is in its 6th year, so what has it done over the years for well-known poets like yourselves, up-and-coming and aspiring poets? What has it done to nurture and groom them?
I think what it's done mostly is to allow poets the opportunity to get their voices out into the world. Poetry is a discipline, an art form that sadly, I think, doesn't often get the kind of exposure that it should get. The wonderful thing about the McGregor Poetry Festival is that it allows a range of poets, from well-established poets to real novice writers, to have an opportunity to mingle, to mix, to share their work and to share their words with each other, and of course with the broader spectrum of society and the public in general.
I've mentioned that there's more than 160 poets that will be participating this year. Talk to us about some of the notable names that are in the program.
Well, you've got people like Kobus Moolman, who I think a lot of people will know as a published poet and a well-established poet in this country. You have Philippa Jaar de Villiers, who's a performance poet. Ethel Williams is an award-winning poet. We've had Eintjie Kroch there. I'm not sure that she's there this year. So there have been poets of real reputation who have attended the festival over the years. But as I said, amongst others, there are going to be many whose names are going to be completely new. But that is part of the excitement of this festival, is that it encourages new voices to come forward and be heard.
And as a big name yourself in the poetry landscape, your poems have been published in various South African poetry journals and anthologies. Now, for a young aspiring poet watching this show right now, what advice do you have for them to be able to attain the level of success that you have?
Keep writing. Just keep writing and believe that your voice is important, and you should really just keep writing, because the more you write, the easier it gets. It's never ever easy, quite honestly. Writing poetry, writing anything creative is never an easy process. But the more you write, the more you read, and the more you write, the better you will become. And take every opportunity that you can get, every opportunity. Submit your work to as many journals as you can, anthologies, and slowly but surely you will see your name in print and your name will get out there.
And I suppose you'll never master it if you don't do it. Now, before I let you go, Graham, I would love you to... I do believe that you prepared a short poem for us. Give us a few lines.
All right, let me give you a quick poem that I wrote, a short poem, and because the theme is water, it's called Worrying About Water. I store these memories of water, how I once saw a dam full to overflowing, drinking from a tap turned wide open, splashing everywhere without care. How forest streams emerging into the light sparkled as sharply as shards of glass. Thunderstorms dumping rain in bucket loads, as the old people would say. I never thought we'd have to contain it for its own protection in plastic containers and bottles, or in this large earthenware pot, now finally put to good use, painted as it is, with women carrying water in urns in a never-ending circle just below the room, so as not to spill a drop.
Ah, Graham, quite inspiring there. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us and for coming through to the show this morning. Well, that is Graham Dukas, is one of the poets participating in this year's edition of the Poetry in McGregor Festival that is set to take place from the 24th to the 26th of August in Cape Town. All right, let's now go to our social